Hi, I'm Susan, and today I'm going to show you how to make a simple needle tool. This is a basic hack you can make out of pretty much almost anything that's got a sharp point. This is one from Sculpey, which is quite expensive, but is a wonderful tool. Well, you can make your own for just pennies using some simple things that you may have around the house. So here's a few that I've already made, and let's get started in making your own. So here's 3 items we can use for our needle tool. I have a T-pin, which you can get at most fabric stores. Sometimes dry cleaners give them to you when they have like a skirt or a pair of pants that they put on a hanger. A toothpick, we all know where we can get one of those. And this is a corsage pin, which you can get at any floral or many craft stores carry them. So basically we're just going to start with a hunk of clay. This has already been conditioned. And I'm just going to make a ball out of my clay. I want to just move that so the camera doesn't continue to focus on that. And once you've made a ball, that's a good size, because basically what we're creating is a handle. So I just cut the ball in half and open it up. And we'll start out with the T-pin here. We are just going to put the T-pin inside, squish it down. Now the T-pin is good because it already has that head on it. So it acts sort of like a little clamp in there that holds it right down well. And so we're basically just going to form a teardrop, which is our handle. And just try to keep it more consistent all around. Now you could do this with a solid color. You could do it with scrap clay. It doesn't matter. You don't have to make them pretty, but I like things to be pretty because my art studio is my haven, and I like things to be pretty in my studio. So I will bake these and come back and show you how I decorate them. If you don't decorate them, that's fine too. They are just a utilitarian tool. But because I like things to be decorated, I will be decorating them. Now once again, we would do the same thing with the corsage pin. Because you have that head in there, it will just basically form a grip and make your handle. And I will refine this. But the toothpick is a little bit trickier because it doesn't have anything in there to grip it. So you basically have to give it a little bit of help. Now it will stay in there. It just doesn't have the grip to hold it. So if you pull on it real hard, it will come out. But you're using this as a tool, and it's basically to put dots and lines and things. Now I have some tacky glue. You can use any type of white glue, and I am going to put it in both sides of this. Because the toothpick is porous, it will absorb this glue and help it adhere. And so it makes just for a much better adhesion for your tool. And even though this isn't as thin as the needle tool, it'll be a lot of help. So if you don't have a needle tool, this is a quick fix until you can get one of the better pins to use. But it's still great as a dotter and for some other things for texture. And that's all you do. Now I'm going to bake this in the oven for a half hour. I will refine these out, bake them in the oven for a half hour, and then come back and we'll decorate them. Let me move that one there. Okay, so I baked all of these little needle tools, and now that they're cool, you can see there's still even a seam here. Don't worry about it. I'm just going to take a little Bacon Bond. You can use liquid Sculpey, any liquid clay you have, and I'm just going to coat it beginning at the bottom because this gets a little tricky on how I'm going to grab it. I don't like to coat the whole thing only because it leaves me a little space to grab it for a minute. Now I have some leftover petal cane, and I've already sliced some, as you can see. I'm just going to start to decorate it. Now if you want it to go, in a layered direction like this, you need to start from the bottom and work up. As much as you want it to look like this, you think naturally we go downwards. No, we go backwards, just like a pod. And you're going to put the petals opposite of each other and then fill them in. And the nice thing about liquid clay is it just slides on it. So I'm just going to continue to go all the way down and cover this, and then I'll come back. And that one, I didn't like the way it went down far enough. I want it to make sure it covers all the clay on the bottom there, because this is the spot that gets the most stress, and so you really do want it to have the most coverage. And I'm just going to continue to put my petals on here, and then I'll come back as I finish it, because it's boring to watch. So now that I've covered the bottom half where I had the liquid Sculpey or Bacon Bond, whatever, I can cover the rest of it because I'll have a little something to grab onto. I find just covering the whole thing at once makes it too difficult to do. It's easier to do the bottom and then the top. So I will continue on decorating this with just my little petal canes, and then I'll come back. But you don't have to decorate these with petal canes. You can decorate them with whatever you want, or you don't have to decorate them at all. This is, like I said, kind of silly, but it's because I really like things to look pretty in my workspace. And it's only a few minutes that it takes you to do this, so it's worth it. So after you get it covered, you just want to kind of really press down and keep all those formations really nice and tight. You don't want any of these petals sticking up anywhere, so just give it a little extra push, and that's pretty much it. If you like, you can add, a flower at the top. I added some little dots and put a pin mark in between them. Let me see. There we go. We get it a little clearer. And you can see it just looks like little rosebuds. Or you could just leave it plain like this. Just giving you different ideas. This one I added some roses on the bottom and some little gold buds. Just different, whatever canes I have left is usually what I clean up with when I'm making these. So I'm going to finish the other ones up and come back and show you how I decorated them. So I finished up with my needle tools. I've got them all decorated. I took them out of the oven and I glazed them. And the reason I glaze these is very important. You will have liquid clay and wet clay on your fingers, and you will want to clean these off. And if you don't glaze them, they do absorb the clay more, and they absorb a lot of oil. So they're much easier to clean once they're glazed. And you can see how pretty they become. Now, you don't have to make them so fancy. I put a rhinestone on this one just for some fun. I do it just because I like having pretty tools. Now this one is the T-pin, which is exactly the same size as the Sculpey needle tool. It's exactly the same, and it's the T-pins, you can usually find them in Joann's or any of the sewing stores in that section, or dry cleaners always have them. Sometimes they put them on your skirts or whatever. These are corsage pins, and they're a little thinner, but they work great for skewering beads and stuff, and they will do a lot of the same things that the needle tools do. The toothpick is a lot wider, but it's a useful little tool, and if you don't have a T-pin, this will do a lot of things that you would be amazed with. So it's not a bad tool to have in your arsenal, and let's all face it, toothpicks cost pennies. So it's just one of those simple things to have. So I hope you had fun building your tools, and thanks for watching.